Okay, guys, I'm back, and let's close this, terminate this, and okay. Great. I'm just waiting for 2-3 minutes for everyone to join, and then let's continue. Fairly happy with the response I got with the assignment. Our pele responses weren't coming that often, so I was a bit worried that people aren't able to follow. But clearly you guys are able to follow, so that's a good thing. I'm happy that I'm being helpful. No, I hope everything is working fine. I haven't changed any settings or whatnot, so there shouldn't be any issue. You can still see everything. 720p available, sound is fine, everything's fine, right? Tell me if there's any issues. Not this. What? You can't see my displays. Is that what you mean, or you're saying the streaming hasn't started? uh, एक सेकेंड नहीं आ रहा क्या? यूट्यूब लाइव चेक करते हैं. Live. Is this live or not? Turn this off. Don't need WhatsApp. Yeah, everything is fine. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Right. So, I was brought to my notice that I hadn't technically shown you how to do equality. It's basically the same thing. So, when we do greater than or less than or equal, that is two equal to's, those are called comparison operators in math. So, or in programming we call them logical operators because they give you a true or false answer. There are four such operators: less than, इंट क्यों कर रहा हूँ मैं इसको, लेस than, greater than, equal to and not equal to. True, false, false, true. They're not equal. Yeah, makes sense. Right. So this is the equals to operator, double equal to. This is a not equal to, an exclamation and an equal, less than and greater than, less than, greater than. So one thing that's very important that you guys need to note is that this equal to, single equal to sign, when we put, it means that you're setting the value of a variable to something. So here what's happening is that the value of a is being assigned as the integer, um, like converting the input that was taken into an integer that is being assigned to the variable a. Same way, the value of either true or false is assigned to each of these c, d, e, and f. So the type of the value, or the type of these guys, if I do type, so if I do type of each of these, I would get bool. So they're boolean values, all four of these, and they get the value from whatever operation is happening here. So logic is being checked out here. It's the computer is understanding whether it's true or false, and that true or false is saved over here. Same way, when we do a plus b, the computer or the processor would add both the values a and b, and it would get the answer 4 plus 7. I've been put 4 and 7 here, that's why 4 plus 7 is 11, so it would have saved 11 into c. So you can see that happen anyways. I mean, you guys have done this, so I know you know how to do this. Just a recap. So 10, right? So that's how this works, and now the type of c would have been integer. Now what we will proceed with is something cool called comments. So let's create a new file for that. We know that if I write a equal to double quotes, and Ankit. So this is a string. Ankit in two quotes is a string. This is none type. And if I only put, say, a single set of string quotes, in Python, this is still a string. In other languages, it may or may not be defined. For example, in C, single quotes are reserved for single characters only. You cannot create strings, it's only for single characters. In Python, you can, this is a string, no issues. And if I wanted the string to be multi-line, so say Ankit is great, watch his workshop. I think this works as well. So let's print all of these A, B, C, D, and save it as quotes.py, print quotes.py. Enable, huh? What? Oh, sorry. Right. Okay. So, as you can see, all these A, C, and D are all strings in written in different types of quotes, and these are all accepted as quotes. One cool thing is, so that's what we did here. Triple quotes are used for this. Now we can also use triple quotes, that is these, for multi-line comments. Now, what are comments or comments or however you pronounce? But like for comments, there's two ways. Now, Sublime Text has a cute little shortcut, as in you can just type control slash and whatever programming language you're using, it will automatically comment whatever in that programming language. So right now it detected that we're using Python, so it just did control slash. When I did control slash, it inserted a hashtag. So now this line is commented, so it will not be executed. The compiler or the processor or whatever you want to call it will not even look at this line. It'll be like, okay, ignore, hashtag means I don't have to see this line. So here it won't print ABCD, it will only print AB, Ankit and none. It did not print C and D. On the other hand, if I would have done this, oops, it would have printed all four. So this is what a comment is used for temporary changes in code, like you just remove some lines and see what happens. And more importantly, it's used to add some logic to your code. To add some explanations to your code, so that if somebody is reading your code, they can understand what in hell is going on. So I'll just, please don't be scared of what I just show you. This is what I यहीं से ओपन कर देता हूँ. ओपन फाइल, प्रोजेक्ट्स कहाँ गया यार, क्या कर रहा हूँ मैं. Yeah, so if you see this code, you can see that triple quotes or hash, these two things can be used to create comments, and they tell you about what is happening in the code. So as you can see, there's a whole bunch of comments in this code. Save the credentials for the next run, or call the Gmail API. This is the code that I actually used to send you guys all the emails. As you can see, here's the body of the email. Thank you for registering for my workshop. I can't wait for it to start. Join me on WhatsApp, etc., etc. So this is the code for that. And since I picked it up from developer.google.com, they put in a lot of comments on how to actually use the code properly. Otherwise, it would be pretty difficult trying to understand what all this stuff means. So, yeah. Um, so I think that's it about the introductory session. Now we can really increase the speed, because now we'll just be seeing some basic syntaxes in Python to do some cool stuff. Um, I think I've forgotten imports. Where was imports? Imports. Right. So now the best part about Python is that code for a lot of things is already there. So um, say I want to क्या example do? Okay. Okay, simple enough. Let's, oh, let this be, let's just create a new file for this and call it SAT. Perfect. Great. Okay. So now I don't know if you understood what happened. But what I have done here is I have imported some other code. Now, as you can see, I did not actually write much code here. I just printed sys.argv and I imported sys from somewhere. What that did, sys is actually short for system, and it's basically a package already available in Python that lets you interact with the system that is running the code. So what sys.argv gives me is all the arguments that were passed after the like after the Python keyword here. So if I would have written Python system.py Ankit wish workshop. So each little argument, whenever you put in a bunch of things after the command, they are known as arguments that are given to the command to further. I think we don't need to go into all that, why we use arguments, but you can just uh, what do I say? Right. So basically, everything that I have put after Python is passed to me in sys.argv. Sys.argv is a special data structure, a type of variable only that is of the type list. Now, in English, list of course means just a bunch of things written after one after the other. You just put in a bunch of things together, that's a list. So that's what a list in Python is as well. Just a collection of variables or a collection of values. So that's actually the next upcoming topic. Advanced data types, tuples, lists, dictionaries, etc. Right. So sys.argv gives you a list of items. Say so this is very useful, and now I'll show you how to use a simple list as well. Like, what you can do is create your own list. So say my data equal to, so my name is Ankit, my email address, and my age. So I just put my information inside a list, and now I can just print name and this would just do that. So one cool thing that you guys need to know is that programmers love the number 0. Okay, and I guess that's half the reason why um, any data set, any data structure usually tends to start with the index 0. Now, when we start counting in colloquial terms, we are like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., etc. But when you start counting in programming, we usually start counting from 0. That is, we do not ignore the number 0. So uh, that's why, like in this list, at the 0th location, you have Ankit. At the location number 1, we have my email, and at location number 2 we have 21, which is actually the first, second and third, but we put it at location 0, 1 and 2. The actual reason for this is that when you store this in memory, the location So like in memory, all that they've stored is these 5 characters, followed by all these characters, followed by this converted into binary. So that's it. And then when you want to access any of them, the address for this guy would actually be the same address as this guy, because that's all we stored, right? So in a variable, that works out. In a variable, like in this string, you only have this thing stored over there, so the address would be pointing to this value wherever Ankit is stored. But when you're working with lists, there are multiple values and you don't even know how many values there are. Okay, so that's why the address of the first is stored. So usually when you're writing some sort of statement that goes through all of the values, you will only add 0 to the address here, 1 to the address here, 2 to the address here, and so on. And that's why we use this. Like 1970s or so, when C programming was common, they had to access stuff like that. Now Python makes it very easy, but that was how, like, you had to actually tell it what address location to access for getting the value. And hence it just made sense, like, since those people are still programming, so like all the newer stuff was created for those who are already programming, and since they were used to the first thing that they only have to add 0 to it, so like, that was connected to 0, and the thing that was stored after it was connected to 1, and then after was connected to 2, and so on. That's why, like, instead of 1 2 3 4, the counting went 0 1 2 3 4, right? So a little bit of history to explain why this little niche thing happens, but yeah. So okay, who can tell me what happens when I do this? Quickly give me an output. Tell me what the output will be. Someone. Huh. Right. Tanay and Vivek, you're right. 21. Tushar, Ragini, okay, everyone, you're right. It will give me 21. So, yep, name 21. So, now that's technically not my name, but okay. इतना भी smart नहीं है Python. So, that's what happens. So, now a cool program that we can do using this is creating a calculator that actually works. So what you can do is print int sys.argv 1 plus int sys.argv 2. Fair enough. You guys got what happened here? I passed 2 and 3 as the arguments. So the sys.argv would have contained list.py at 0, 2 at 1, 3 at 2. So at 1 we have 2, so it gets the value 2 as a string out here, converts it into an int, and then adds it with the integer value of 3. So 2 plus 3 5, so it prints 5. So here we can do this. Now this is also very useful. Again, why did I close that? Open file. Here in the mailgun, this is something that I've done. So I have checked if I have a uh, if I have provided a file name in sys.argv, it opens that file and gets all the email addresses from that file and sends an email to them. And if I haven't, then it just Hatika, you don't need to know if statements right now, but yeah. So so this is actually very useful. So that way I don't have to modify the code, nor do I have to sit and give an input, like read an input ka wo and then do that, and like it's just slightly quicker and it's very useful. You'll see how it's useful later when we're doing Django. Right now it's a little difficult because right now we're just writing scripts, and well, simple scripts may you won't really notice a difference. Um, so uh, can't it be sys.argv0 plus sys.argv1? The problem there would be sys.argv0 contains list.py, the string, so it can't add the string with a number. So that wouldn't make much sense. I don't think I need to demonstrate it. Um, List can have various data types. Yeah. So as you noticed, the list. Oh, I'll save this here and put the list, for example, only here. So I'll be sharing all these codes with you so you guys can take a look at them later if you just want to revise something or whatnot, or see the syntax for something or whatever. Um, So yeah, one thing that those who have done any sort of programming before, say C, Java, etc., those have a data structure known as an array. And the issue with an array is that firstly it's of a fixed size. So you create an array of 10 items and it can only save 10 items. It cannot save more than that. Here I could just append more things and it would have zero issues, but that's not the case with an array. You have to tell the size of an array. So that's why Python does not have arrays. And secondly, the data type of all the items stored inside the array have to be same. Here 21 is an integer and this is a string, but no issues because Python rocks. So lists are uh, and the best part is that lists are mutable, so you can modify a list. You can just do my data dot append. Oh, I forgot, say, my gender, so I can add male, and then I could just print my data. uh, let's just go to that old configuration again. This is just inconvenient. There we go. Yeah, now let's do. And as you can see, mail has been appended. Same way we can also remove stuff. Say I'm like, I don't want to reveal my email address, so you can just do, and ideally I think it, and there we go, it's gone. So mutable means that you can change it, so you can add and remove items from it. So that's basically what a list is. It can also store technically a bunch of values of the same thing, of a similar type. Here we go. Okay, so that's just wrong. Yeah. So that's the syntax for a list. Now, similarly, we also have a tuple The only difference, major difference between a tuple and a list is that tuples are immutable. So append and remove are not available for a tuple. The difference between a tuple and a list is just syntax and mutability. So you put round brackets, it becomes a tuple. You put square brackets, it becomes a list. Now if I try to append and remove, it'll be like it has no attribute append because tuples are immutable. You cannot change a tuple once you've created it. So there, if you have any reason to use a tuple, sure, you can use it. I tend to prefer lists. I think there's a slight difference in the amount of time it takes to access elements and whatnot since they are immutable, or the amount of space they actually take up in the RAM since again you don't need to constantly add and remove things. But all that's very complicated stuff for now. You just need to know that something like a tuple exists. And let's just continue using lists. Another cool thing is a set. Now, who can tell me what a set is in math? SET set. List sets. What do you think is special about a set? Come on, let's see who can answer. Uh, where the chat go? Right, so Shreya is correct out here. In math, a set cannot have values like this, right? So if you do this, this is what it'll do. We'll just get rid of the duplicates, right? A set is a set of unique values. That's the basic idea. That's the basic definition of a set. So uh, it's a collection of non-repeating entities. Again, you use curly brackets, it becomes a set. The advantage, of course, is you have operations like union, intersection, difference, symmetric difference, etc. So you can see that in the code mentioned here. Fruits and pizza toppings I've created two sets. इसमें I've put apple, pineapple, tomato and peach. In toppings I've put onion, tomato, pineapple and mushroom. And then when I do the intersection of the two, like fruits ka intersection with pizza toppings, I get tomato and pineapple because those are the only two that are common in both. Same way, list ka example, I've done the same thing only. Here also I've done the same thing, just that here I've demonstrated mutability. That's it. Right. Dictionaries. Okay. So now one of my favorite data types is what is known to the C programmers as a hash table, or here a dictionary. A dictionary basically is like a lookup table or a hash table or whatever. But those who don't know programming, for them, think of it as the Oxford Dictionary, right? You have a word and its meaning. Same way, we have a key and a value. So my dict equal to name Ankit, age 21, and then if I do print my dict, it's gonna print the exact same thing. So eh, oh yeah, can anyone guess what the error is here? I of course know what the error is, but like let's see if anyone can figure it out. responses आएगा live. Yep, you're right. Quotes. So Ankit is supposed to be a string, so it has to be in quotes. I if I had when I had just written this, it was looking for a variable called Ankit, but I had not defined a variable called Ankit yet. So it's like, dude, I don't know what you mean. So yeah, now it works. So name Ankit, age 21. And the beauty of this is that now I can do this and I can do this. Yeah. So that is a dictionary. You can insert things just by doing this. If it finds that email already existed inside, it will override the value. If it didn't, it will just add another key value pair inside. So dictionaries are very, very, very useful. You'll realize how useful when we do Django. It's one of the most common data structures that we'll be using along with lists. Tuples and sets rarely we'll come across, but still they're useful, I guess. Now, does anyone have any sort of doubt in advanced data types? We have four of them: tuple, list, set, and dictionary. Uh, if there's no doubts, then we can just go on to flow control. Otherwise, let's revisit. Any doubts? Okay, I think everyone seems to have got it because I have not received any doubts. So, I think we can proceed. Um, so, flow control. Now, I really want to show you that. Right. So, uh, wait one sec, tuple. Right. Huh. Yash, look. You wanna see the code or something? Like, let's just. I deleted the